Good afternoon, everyone. My name is CHADALAVADA. I'm a Technology Director at Capital One, working in digital space. So today the topic that we wanted to share with this group is how we are doing no-cure releases at Capital One using Spinnaker. Before I start presenting the other slides and go ahead with the rest of the information, I just wanted to share a few numbers and also high-level details at about Capital One. Because interestingly, when I met a couple of my family members for after years, last night they were like, "Your credit card company, what are you doing at technical conference?" So wanted to share a couple of recent numbers that we got from some of the reliable folks. We're top 10 in banking, savings, as well as our CD accounts, and also checking. And also we are top 20 for new college grads and top 50 for diversity and top 100 for working mothers, and leading digital bank. The leading digital bank is the one that I was telling my family. So we are digital bank, even though for 20-year-old, that is 20-year-old bank is relatively very, very young compared to all other top banks in US that are 100-plus-year-old. So our founder, Rich Fairbank, he always believed in, and the same belief that we carry. He always believes, and still he enforces the same thing every year when he has his presentation, that if we want to continue leading in digital space as a digital bank, we have to have the capabilities of great software company. That is where you see us in digital area. We have realized that world around us has been changing very fast pace with all the device proliferation that is happening and all the socialization, social network that we are all connected more or disconnected more in person because we stopped talking to each other in person, but we are socially connected. But yeah, it's socially connected, and then businesses are transforming. So we looked at it, said everything around us is changing so much. What do we need to do to transform the way that we are delivering our products, taking the product on the digital platform to our customers, quality products very quickly. And that's when we started coming up with the strategy. Our strategy has been create an ecosystem of innovative tools, acquire and retain talent, create great technical products, and use good engineering practices. That's been our mantra, and that's been our the strategy. And at the core, we still are the same. We want to make sure our customers are lifelong investors, and we are giving them guidance through our digital tools and customized products to save their money and also keep having a good credit usage. And that we can do it if we provide them right digital tools, the tooling very quickly, customizable, intuitive to use. That is where we have put our focus. How can we deliver great products very quickly? Because we've been using waterfall methodology, it takes its own time. Then we looked at all our delivery methods, and we looked at our strategy. We changed the way that we have been doing things. So all that engineering changes and engineering excellence that we worked on, it started paying off. Take a quick pause. I want to see how many of you have, what do you have in your wallet? Do you have Capital One card? Oh, okay, we see some hands. So if you have used our digital platform, you may be familiar with our chatbots, and we've integrated with Alexa. All this has been possible because of the technology that we are able to deliver to the customers quickly and getting it right the first time. And as well as when we give the quality product, we realized our customers are our advocates of all those products. What are our key transformations? In this journey, we have transformed our methodologies and delivery from the waterfall to full stack engineering agile teams. Earlier, we had software developers and then testers and the release engineers, and we have developers just doing the code and do the test, throw it on to the other side of the wall and expect all the operations to take care of it. And after 45-day warranty, done. No need to worry about it. So we wanted to stop that. And we said, you build, you own, and increase the responsibility on the delivery team, full stack team. And we went from monoliths to microservices. We went from build our own stuff or leverage something licensed to let's use open source first. Let's look at open source first, not only the users, let's contribute back. So you may have heard about the Rookie Award winner 2 years back, the Hygia custodian last year, and we have few other applications and software that we are working with our legal, finishing up all the steps before we push it to the larger community so that they can all leverage what we learned and what we have developed. Then we went to public cloud. Earlier, we had huge data centers. We were from 9 to 5, and then we are planning on even shrinking that in a couple of years. So that's a public cloud. And then maturing our DevOps practices, end-to-end, entire flow, maturing all the DevOps practices. And finally, no fear releases. What is no fear release? We've been hearing about continuous delivery, but we wanted to take it a step up and do certified continuous delivery because it's a financial system applications. It is very crucial that we meet all our compliance and from risk, legal, whatnot. There's a huge list of things. For last 2 years, I think we don't know how many legal and risk discussions that we have had to get to a complete list of all the things that we need to do to get to no fear releases. And that has started paying off. And today's topic, the certified continuous delivery pipeline and how, because I just wanted to give some history behind our digital side of why we are interested and what's our role in the, how we are plugged into the digital world. Then how the transformation, and especially the last one in the key transformation, is helping us today to deliver the products quickly, quality products quickly to the customer and get the feedback, make the changes, deliver enhancements to them quickly. When we started looking at our DevOps, maturing our DevOps and especially our pipelines, we started looking at it and see from software engineer perspective, we always talk about, okay, we have to develop the code, test the code, and then you put it in some test environment, performance test, and release. That is not going to be enough for a certified delivery pipeline. That's where we had series of discussions with all our legal to our program product owners, business owners, and everything. And we have a manifesto developed, and that is starting with, just to give an example, a few things that we had to put in the delivery pipeline. Is your code peer reviewed by right folks? And then is it quality tested? Are we talking about quality tested, the quality of the test cases that you wrote, or is it really covering all your code, the right code coverage and the quality coverage? Is it performance and regression tested well? checked for licenses, open source licenses? And is it checked for all your security flaws and the security scans? Is it ready for disruption? Is it really resilient? And we have all these key things that are incorporated into our delivery pipeline that we said, this is our certified delivery pipeline that we want to apply to all the applications that are going to production. These are the stages, these are the checkpoints, automate everything, including a release change order. I don't know how many of you have a change order system in your companies, but we do have a change order system. You have to go through a panel to get all the change approvals and that. From that, we are maturing into automating that whole piece by incorporating a lot of all the stages that I was talking about. It would take all the metrics automatically, and then it will check all the thresholds of each and everything. That is incorporated. All this has been possible even to come to this decisions and also implementing this stuff, because we said the whole power of all the development lies with including the community rather than everyone doing it in silos. So we started doing inner sourcing within our company. Open the platform for a lot of innovation rather than just giving them something and you have to work in this guardrails and in this guidelines. Open it up for innovation, true innovation rather than reinvent something. Wherever we have areas wherever we needed to improve and accelerate all our code delivery, we looked at it every iteration and said that these are the areas we have to further improve. So all these things included into the manifesto, and then while we were doing all this stuff, every team, every line of business started to create their own version of pipelines. And we looked at it, we saw, any guess how many pipelines we may have had within our company? 20 of them nameless, 700, 20 of them with the names and 700 without names. So different versions of Jenkins 2 or something else, but a pipeline to continuously deliver, but may not be meeting all the things that we said as a team, put it in a manifesto. We looked at it and said, okay, there is a high risk delivery to a low risk delivery. Our aim is to get the low risk delivery. Then we started looking at what is the extensible open source platform, API based platform, supporting multi-cloud that we could use to create this framework. That's when we looked at multiple options, and then we zeroed in on Spinnaker. The API first, and then large dedicated community and multi-cloud deployments are the ones that caught our attention to start with. We have looked at it, but there are several things, because this journey we started 1.5, close to 2 years back. So there are so many other things that are early stages of maturing in Spinnaker also. So we needed to extend it a lot on our side to create this application code that is Cloud One View. It is not just no fear releases, but also showing you that has to show a lot of other things in one view. As the name says, show everything in one view, including your optimization related, who is onboarding, all the metrics. We are not there at completely. We haven't realized all our vision. We are working towards it. But COVE Cloud One View is our application that is powered by Spinnaker Web Services, and we have added a lot of extensions, and I'll talk about the extensions in a few minutes. A very high level, it's as the name says, it's a single pane view into all your environments, all the infrastructure that you are creating in the cloud. The deployment pipeline, certified deployment pipeline for your rollout. And it supports all the key words that we have been hearing lately in our continuous delivery model, you have to do auto rollbacks, automated rollbacks, canary or blue-green deployments, all that stuff. When you look at COVE, as I mentioned earlier, it's not just Spinnaker installation as is, but we had to extend it. So you can see the COVE. We took some Spinnaker services. We created a lot of custom modules and functions on top of it. The UI is Angular based, and we have added some controls in the Spring expression area because the way that it opens up a lot more, so we didn't want to open up that all those expressions. We enforced peer review into our build validation model, both at the infrastructure level, code build level, as well as the pipeline changes. Everything is peer review enabled. You can't make any change to your pipeline without getting reviewed and approved by right authority before you can execute the pipeline for your application. Maybe wondering why we had to put that. We have seen teams that knowing unintentionally or intentionally making some changes that ended up having some unintentional changes or the changes that had impacted their lower environment, luckily not production, but they were something that we had to really stop at the early stages itself rather than letting them make these changes. For example, build. If they have a build stage where they can update and push it into a registry or enterprise registry, some buildable artifact that the later stage can pick it up from. If they are making some changes to the pipeline stage to pick it up from somewhere else, some other snapshot or some other repository somewhere in that early stages, we did not want, we cannot have those the gaps into the system by teams making the change without having a impact at the broader level what it could cause. So we said everything that is in the delivery pipeline, we treat that as a code, period. Everything has to be peer reviewed. The other key custom changes that we had to make, we have started our journey on containerizing all our applications and deploying to ECS clusters, ECS and ALB model. And the infrastructure view that we had to show how many containers are running in our ECS clusters, how many are healthy, and how many tasks are up. All those metrics that we had to show. That's where we had to extend the UI piece of it and also the corresponding stages. Very first question that we got from leadership is how many teams onboarded, how many lines of business, and what's the metrics? We had to extend the UI to show that metrics on who onboarded what, even though the lower right-hand side thing, that's a visual graphic, you have a trend showing the monthly and also a table with all the details as well that I didn't capture here. We have extended our stages to support deployment, execution of the scripts that teams are bringing in the vanilla Docker container that has all approved plugin versions that enterprise has, or team can bring their own if it is approved by right authority. So the script execution can happen in their own Docker container or a vanilla Docker. And obviously the peer review of enforcing peer review of the pipeline. I'm going to skip 2 slides because I put them here thinking that we may not have time to show them in the real application. So I'm going to skip these 2. So this is what I was showing earlier. This is one of our applications in production showing all the stack. What is our active, what is not active, and everything. And there is a example of ECE of the ECS and ACE pipeline that we have created. It's templatized, and then people can just import the pipeline and they can make the changes, peer review, and then they can apply to their application. The one UI, the landing page is this. You will have the key features, and then you get in from here. Sorry to skip back and forth, but wanted to show those things. And then when I come to roadmap, I'll go back to the screen and talk about a few other things. What's in our roadmap? We have a huge list, but the key ones that we are going to work in the immediate next few months, we wanted to highlight here. When I mentioned about we had so many pipelines across the organization, but COVE has been the future, that the Spinnaker-based certified pipeline is our future. To make the journey to help all the teams that have Jenkins 2-based pipelines seamlessly get on board onto this COVE platform, we have to have integration with the Jenkins to whether we import it and put the DSL and put the intelligence in to render it in such a way that it is actually a Spinnaker pipeline, or collaborate with Spinnaker team and come up with some other option. But we have to do that because we have multiple teams with their own journey, and with all the DSL templates running around. We want to get we want to provide a right solution for them to make this integration onboarding onto Spinnaker seamless. Currently, our deployment is active passive between East and West. We have been using Elastic Cache Redis, and we have run into some issues with cross-region replication because the way that we are getting the information out of this Redis, it's unencrypted, and all our buckets don't even allow unencrypted bucket if I want to use S3 and replicate and load it back onto Redis. And we started working with AWS on a workaround, and one of our teams, they got the solution and they got it working in pilot mode, so we want to employ that. And the other thing is Orca 3. We started our sync up because we are waiting on ability to resume our pipeline from where it stopped, right, even after rehydration of the instance. Currently, you cannot resume. You're done if the instance is dead. The Orca 3, because of the message queue stuff, it's not tying with the Orca instance when the pipeline started. That is where we want to get to with all our resiliency. And the other one in the second bullet point, I put multiple things, so I'm giving the listing all three. The other one is we want the ability to deploy either in active-active or active-passive mode to multiple providers. So that is what we are going to pilot in a near future. Want to improve our profile role-based authorization. We have developed the authorization, but we would like to work with, as I said earlier, when we started Spinnaker taking all the code in and extending it, some of the services that they have now, they're pretty early stages of development. So we are working with them to see what are all the things, revisiting our decisions and developments, see where can we contribute back, where do we have to update to a different open source service that is coming from Spinnaker umbrella. And we got a couple of names today that we may the potential candidates, but they are partially open source, so we will have those discussions in coming days. Improving our notification and alerts. Our test improvement, automated tests, the scenarios that we have. Not all applications are APIs. We have huge different infrastructures from Kafka to Spring XD to Druid infrastructure to Spark to Apache, regular Tomcat, and all those. So not just microservices. We have many application frameworks and infrastructures that require changes to this or customizable pipeline stages for their infrastructure build and deployment. So our DBA team, for example, they have created their RDS pipeline and integrated with APIs. But whenever we are upgrading, let's say Orca, we want to make sure we run the regression test of all these individual custom pipeline that people have contributed to this our pipeline marketplace is thoroughly tested before we roll it out. So we are not impacting our customers or our inner source contributors that have created templates in our marketplace. And as the name suggests, it's a cloud one view. We covered a pipeline, and then we are talking about infrastructure view. But our other area that has been in our scope is giving the team a visibility into their cloud usage and guide them on the optimization to see what they can improve on. And we are not going to do the development of that core service. We have under DevOps, maturing DevOps practices umbrella, we have many other application teams developing different application or different software or different products. Want to integrate and show them in a very user-friendly palette or a wizard that this is your view and this is your cost view and optimization. And of course, custom templates to govern their usage. And look at that and also command and control if they have right authorization. Currently, as I mentioned, there are several things in the certified that makes no fear release certified pipeline. As part of that, to make it everything automated, we are taking some credentials and storing it in S3. But we want to move it to Vault. And we have internal implementation of Vault for credential management across our enterprise. We closely worked with HashiCorp, and we have a Vault implementation, call it Chamber of Secrets, and we want to integrate with that rather than put it in double encrypt and put it in S3. We want to move those credential management to Vault. We have looked at chaos, funky, and then we have improved. We have our own headless, serverless, Lambda-based Detour or a resiliency as a service framework that we have created because we didn't want to use something that runs in somewhere and have some servers that someone has to maintain. And we want to integrate with that resiliency, not only for the Spinnaker deployment itself, but also for the applications that are delivering using the delivery pipeline. We want to have a disrupt stage to make sure it meets the resiliency, whether it is platinum tier or gold or silver or bronze. Finally, maybe wondering why haven't we integrated with Hygia yet? Because it's our own open source. We are taking it. We are being a little bit lazy. We're putting that in the back burner, but we have a plan to integrate with Hygia and to see all our TechOps, DevOps metrics in one place, not just for pipeline, many other things in the Hygia dashboard. If you are wondering why I've highlighted those three, we are planning on contributing back to Spinnaker community wherever we can, or if they have already started the journey of the Vault. I'm hearing that they have Metatron, not Vault, but they have some other pieces with Vault integration. So we will, those are potential contribution candidates. That's why that's the color coding there. Just a quick view into our deployment. We have, earlier I was asking a question on have the Spinnaker team containerized it. We have started our journey containerizing the services that I was showing earlier, but we haven't productionized those things yet. Because running every service in its own instance and performance test baseline to make sure we are doing optimizing the usage of the EC2 by running each instance is something that, at least at this point, we have multiple services running on each instance, the Spinnaker services. But we want to containerize it and use the instance optimally rather than the recommended approach of running each Spinnaker service in its own instance. So that is one thing that we just wanted to call out. And we have, sorry, I didn't realize it, took that off of the. And we, as I mentioned earlier, we are using Elastic Cache and Redis. We tried for a few days with the Dynamite, but we had run into some issues, especially with the APIs that are exposed through Elastic Cache, and then with the Dynamite, we ran into some issues and we said, okay, we are not, and we had some deliverables to meet at the time. And there are some hard timelines. So we said we'll switch back to our read and write replica model on Redis. So we haven't explored our Dynamite option much further. Going back to our monitoring, that is another area where we are planning on. We have to improve that. We know that we have to get better. We saw Atlas, which is partially, I think, or maybe it's not completely open sourced. Currently, what we have is, when we started our Spinnaker journey, we started pushing all the logs to enterprise Splunk that we had in our environment. We had some dashboards or some information coming out of it, but it is not extensively monitoring. It's just a log aggregator tool. That use case we were using. We have integrated with Zabbix to have the URL monitorings and monitoring, as well as CloudWatch. We are extensively using CloudWatch for all the others monitoring on the stack. Current state from Splunk, we recently moved to Elk. We started our journey to migrate to Elk at the enterprise level for some of the use cases where Elk is the best fit. Started pushing our Spinnaker COVE Cloud One View logs into the system. This is where you see all our Kibana in our production. But we haven't created a dashboard yet. We are working with the team to have Kibana dashboard. We are waiting for cross-cluster visibility of the Kibana next version to create a dashboard from both for the different regions. But at this point, we are using this as a log aggregator. The other couple of things that I wanted to show earlier, it's peer review. When I mentioned about peer review, how many of you are aware of LGTM? Looks good to me. Module. Okay. So we are leveraging, looks good to me, but not just leveraging. We have our Tech Fellows team enhanced it extensively for many other features, and that's another product where we are working with legal to add everything back into the LGTM community. So that's the LGTM with all the code pipeline, everything is integrated. And also, if some team is not using LGTM, Spinnaker or code pipeline doesn't just rely on, well, do you have LGTM and do you have right policy? No. It goes to an extent that is it peer reviewed by looking at the hash codes to see whether it is actually reviewed by another person than whoever the author is, and that other person is part of the right members group of that particular application. Because that's crucial in our financial industry, where we have to, whether you are doing it manually or automatically, you have to have the SOX compliance and all the compliance things that you have to meet. And we are automating it without leaving any gaps in that process. With that, I'll pause and then I'll open the forum for any questions that you may have.
I'm interested in, like you said that you guys contributed a bunch of custom modules. Was there any particular reason you found it difficult to then just add that to the Spinnaker core itself, or to like write it back to Spinnaker as opposed to writing your own custom modules?
So some of the custom modules, when I mentioned about ECS related, the container infrastructure view, we kept the development in such a way that we can push it back to the core community, but the development has been happening at a very fast pace, where we didn't take time to go through our legal and risk and everything to get the open source approvals to put it back. That is where we started our conversations with Andy, had a list of things, said these are the potential candidates where we would like to have the conversation and see where we can put them back. But some of those are custom to Capital One. For example, when you looked at onboarding metrics, a part of it where we have upgraded or enhanced the Gate API to give additional information onto the application API. Portion of it can be generic, but the implementation, some of that in the UI, it's very customized to lines of businesses, and then the way that we pull the information for our internal system of record, and then lay out for some teams that the custom templates. But we'll definitely look into it and see, even in those custom things, if we can make something like API based and pluggable. But with the rapid pace development and deliverables that we had to meet, we put that in the backlogs that these are the potential candidates, but keeping in mind that keep those modules in such a way that even if we have to do the upstream sync up, it won't cause any headache for the team, as well as when we contribute back, it's so the module itself, it can be standalone in such a way that it helps the SIEM integration simpler.
Okay.
But good question, and we have it in the backlog, and hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah, I was wondering about things like the Spring Expression Guard. Like,
yes,
we had to implement the same thing recently.
So. You did? Okay, because yeah, it was a scary thing when we said everyone, the whole list of things that people could use are like, no, we had to put some guardrails around that piece. That's one of the things, yes.
And are you guys then keeping up to date with the latest version of Spinnaker, or like what's your update process like, seeing that there's so much custom code?
Yeah. So every alternate PI, PI is around 3 months. Every alternate PI, we look at it and it's not every month, it's not every week. Every alternate PI. That's been our cadence. And this PI, we are in the process of getting Orca 3, Gate, and all those applications. And that is where I had a list of things to the team and say, can Orca 2 and 3 coexist? Because is it non-backward compatible? Because that scares our customers as well as the core team. Yeah, we do it, but not every month or every week. And we are planning to get that cadence with short intervals rather than 3 months. And it's good.
Are you done? You mentioned not wanting to run Chaos Monkey because of another service to manage. Especially for Chaos Monkey 2.0, it's very suitable for a scheduled container, and I'm pretty sure that's how Netflix runs it in-house, even though their documentation describes instances. A scheduled container, I know we don't use, we use Docker for it, and it works great.
What we have is, when I talked about our disruptor framework, it's EC2, 10 different types in EC2, right from memory spike mimicking that, and ASG level, cache, different cache layers that we are using, and obviously the ELBs and the ECS cluster. So there are 8 different things currently, and then our DBA team started adding RDS related. So it's a huge list. When we looked at Chaos, we didn't have all those things already supported. That was where we said we would contribute back, but these are the things that where we couldn't use it right away because it's not meeting all our requirements to completely give sign-off on resiliency.
Yeah, Chaos Monkey 2 actually supports less actions than 1. It just does terminations now. So you do need those other things to kind of supplement. But great. And then you mentioned a few times about Spinnaker and containers. If you look in the Spinnaker repo, there is a Docker Compose file in the experimental directory.
Yeah.
That's a place to start. I've played with it, but it's definitely not for production.
That's right. We did start. We did, and then we got to a point where containerized different services into container communications place where we were stuck.
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, we'll figure it out later because that's not the high priority one. But that's where we were. But we definitely did look at it, and we're not going to reinvent that space, but we looked at it, but we were stuck during that implementation. Any other questions? I forgot to call out something. When I talked about all our DevOps and all the different products under the umbrella framework, this pipeline framework being one, we have our visionary, our leader. He couldn't join us today because of some last minute thing that pulled him back. He needed to put his immediate attention on that. We wanted to just call it out. Kranti is our leader, and he's the vision. His vision is what drove us to this stage. And in the room, I have some core team members that made this possible, whatever stage that we are on. It's Pritesh, Raji, Andrew, and we have 2 other members attending other Spinnaker sessions just to make sure we are not missing anything and go back and work on the roadmap items, but not reinvent anything, but write services. Want to just call out those contributions and the core team. And thank you, Netflix team, for bringing us together on this forum to exchange all our ideas as well as what's happening in our own world and how bring that stuff back to this community and share the ideas and get to the next step. Thank you so much. There are no questions. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Go ahead, please.
I have one that's going to be a little different. Can you start out talking about digital companies, et cetera? Was that pivot or that decision made in process of adopting this stuff, or was that someone said, by God, we're a digital company, and then we need to figure it out?
So around 94, when Rich Fairbank started this, at the core, it's like software company, technology company. But the way that we have with all the things that acquired, it's a card and as well as bank. But the core stayed at, we are technical folks, we are tech engineers, we're software team. So it didn't start with the digital or the device proliferation. It's been there, but now it's paying off. That mindset has been paying off now. Because we started the journey of all this cloud and everything much before than other financial industries started because of his risk-taking. It's multi-cloud, from data center, huge risk, but we are software engineer. Yes, let's take it, and whatever gap comes in, let's automate this stuff. So it is, mindset has been at the core, the heart, it's always technology form.
Okay, I asked, I live in New York City, and I have a talk, make stocks not scary. You can do with all the financials there. So I have noticed the people outside of New York City to do things quicker and faster than people inside of New York City.
I always moved to Washington.
McLean? Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, it hasn't been a smooth journey on the software team as well as our legal and risk and SOX team. Several debates. Everyone, best of their interests, wanted to do the best. And everyone is aligned to let's automate it, because no access to production is what we are aiming at. No one would have access to production. If you need, it's only break the glass on a purpose-based access that you would get. Otherwise, no access. That is where when we are aiming at all the certified delivery, it's scary. It is scary. I was a bit scared when we started the talk 2 years back. But yes, the great engineering team and the innovation and all that, and the inner sourcing and the community helped us get here. And we have a long way to go, but we're making good progress.
Got a question. Go ahead. The piggyback on that. So I told someone when I was working previously, we actually did continuous deployment. We noticed because that particular team, their discipline of development and QA amongst themselves, to where because I had too much authority, just turned the block off. And then it just always, they do a release tag and get it. And stuff just goes out and no one noticed that stuff happens, everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Do you see that happening with teams inside of your whoever running services, that there'll be maybe this subset of services and stuff when that last tag, GitHub tag occurs for release, it'll just go and no one has to go look at it? Like that last super production pipeline that says yes, automatic?
Yeah, glad you asked. When I talked about the manifesto and the automate everything, the pieces that we have developed and we are in the process of finishing up other areas as well. From each of the product that's aligned in our GitHub, the license checks, your sonar checks, your Fortify checks, all the metrics are looked at by automated CO release. And if the thresholds are not met, or if the right tag is not the one that is tested and certified, it would not let you go into the production. It won't even let you go past, and it will send the notification. That's where we're aiming at. That piece is being built currently. A dedicated team is doing some checks that are automated versus some manual. But complete automation using all these metrics through API-based calls from the TechOps system of record is being built. And currently it is completely not automated, but there's no way people can skip it.
All right.
With the certified pipeline that we are talking about. And we had different versions of pipelines, as I mentioned, several 100 to 20 named ones, and now our future is with the Spinnaker based pipeline. Everyone is going to adopt to that manifesto, whatever pipeline they're running on. I think you had.
Oh yeah. So the COVE UI that you built, were you able to fork and reuse the existing UI, or was that just a total from scratch?
Total from scratch.
Okay.
Total from scratch, but because needed. The idea was when we started this journey to last year, to 2015 Q4, 2016 early Q1. As I mentioned, there are several things that we wanted. Want a customizable widget for teams, cost optimization widget. It's not like a iframe that we want to put in, but it's seamlessly showing the stuff in the same frame. That's where we couldn't put Spinnaker, the deck, and all the other applications that are building all these cool features and integrate them without giving weird user experience to the team. So I thought we will have that piece built. So thank you.